Hello, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Layla, and today I'm going to share with y'all how I spent all of my money in 2023. I know we're like well into the month and we're still talking about 2023, but we're almost done with the 2023 videos. There's going to be this one, and then I still need to make a sabbatical prep update video for month 3 out of 18. So that will be it, and then we can move on. As I said, for this video, I do want to talk about where I spent my money, and this is basically a follow-up from setting my annual budget. So every year I create a budget for the year, and then usually about 6 months into the year, I update what I think those numbers are going to look like, and then I like to give an update after the year actually ends on how things actually looked, how I actually spent my money in each of those categories. So I'm going to go in order from smallest spend to highest spend. And I'm just going to be looking at the updated budget from back in like June or July of 2023, not the original numbers that I set back in 2022. All right, starting with my smallest spend, that is going to be my phone plan. And I budgeted $360 for this, and I actually should have budgeted $390 because that's like the $360 is the base amount. I have Mint Mobile, as y'all know, but then you have to pay taxes and some fees, and that usually comes to about $390. So I must not have like double checked things when I made my original budget or my new budget. But this ended up costing me $0 because I mentioned a few weeks ago that Mint Mobile ended up paying for my plan actually the whole next year. So my plan renewed in December, and because I work with them so frequently, they did end up paying for my plan this year. So that's really exciting, and that cost me $0. So shout out to Mint Mobile if y'all are interested in switching this. This video is not in partnership with them, but I always have my link down in the description box, and that's mintmobile.com/debtoverit. Next would be renter's insurance, and when I gave my updated expected budget for the year, I said that this would be about $26, and that is accurate, and that's because I moved out of my apartment in May of 2023 and into this current house. So because of that, I was able to cancel my renter's insurance, get that refunded because I typically was always paying for the full year. So all that I had to pay was just a few months of renter's insurance, and that was because I think my renter's insurance started in like February or March. So really this was only like 2 or 3 months of payment. So that was $26. Next would be Spotify. I budgeted $99. That was $99. Y'all know my gift card trick. So I purchase an annual plan through Amazon. So I get a gift card to Spotify for $99 off of Amazon.com. They also sell that gift card typically on Walmart.com. And if you're on like an individual plan, that $99 is good for a full year of Spotify Premium, which is very cool because you can get it for a lower cost. And then I usually always use my Discover It credit card to make that purchase in Q4 of the year because they also offer, Discover It offers 5% cash back on Amazon purchases. So yeah, save even more money by doing that. Next would be my house sinking fund. So this was my house down payment sinking fund. And I had set this at $1,000. I thought I would set money aside for this, but I didn't. I put $100 to this sinking fund, and I did that right before I turned 30 years old, just so I could say that I started saving for a house, but it's not something I'm prioritizing right now. It's not something I want to save for right now, or even like really have the means to. Like I just have other goals in mind, and we just moved into this house, and I think, you know, we're just gonna chill here for a bit, and I'm fine with that. Next would be parking. I budgeted $100 for the year. That ended up being $107.80, so not too far off. Next is Netflix. I budgeted $185.88. That's because that was the old rate that I was paying, and then at some point in the year it increased a few dollars per month. So that ended up costing me $241.81. Next up is taxes, and this is specifically paying my CPA to file my taxes. I budgeted $285. That was $285. Next would be the gym. I did not budget anything for this. When I made my updated budget video, I think it's just something I forgot about because I didn't see it on, I didn't watch that video again, but I didn't see it on my list of things in my annual budget. So I think I forgot about that. But I did start my gym membership in May of 2023. And for the full year, that cost me $408.91. Next is entertainment slash fun. I budgeted $500, ended up being $577.86. Not too bad. Gas for my car, I budgeted $700. That was $605.81. A lot of people are like, oh my God, I spend that much in a month on gas. Yes, I know. If you commute to work, then you're going to be spending a lot on gas. I work completely remote for my full-time job. The only place now, I drive more now that I live in this house compared to where I lived before, because literally at the apartment I lived at before, I was able to like walk to my doctor's offices. I was able to walk to the grocery store. Like I was barely driving. I had a gym in the apartment. It was like a pretty solid gym, so I didn't have to drive anywhere. So it has cost me a little bit more in the second half of 2023, but still not enough to be a big difference. And now I primarily drive to the gym, to the grocery store, and then when I go and see my family. But it is a lot more driving because I'm much further out from my family, but still not too bad. Next up is personal spending. I budgeted $100 for 2023. I did plan a low spend year. Basically, I didn't want to spend in the personal category except for $100. That was my top focus. I did really good throughout most of the year, but November and December were some bad months for me. So by the time I reached November, I had only spent like $85 on personal things throughout the whole year. But then November and December changed that. So in total, that was $845.01 on personal things. Some clothes in there. I bought like a few crochet kits, merch. But still, not too bad. Less than $1,000 on personal spending. So I would still consider it a low spend year for personal stuff. After that is food out. I budgeted $900, ended up spending $847.61, so that's good. I did stay under budget there. I do want to call out that I did go out to eat more than what you're seeing here. I don't spend that much when I go out to eat, but for 2023, I know that I spent more while traveling. So my boyfriend and I did travel to a couple of places in 2023, and a lot of the things cost more. We just end up going out to eat like multiple times when we travel, multiple times in a day, I should say. The other thing though is that sometimes if I go out to eat, it's like with my boyfriend and then he ends up paying. But also my company, they give out Uber Eats gift cards. We have this like reward system and we can redeem it for certain little rewards. And I always do Uber Eats gift cards. So on a regular basis, I was redeeming like $25 per month. And that's usually enough for me to cover like a meal or two when I go out. So yeah, this is definitely a little bit higher, but as far as my actual spending, that's what it was. For gifts, I budgeted $900 and I did spend $900, and I really spent more on actual gift buying, but I put this at $900 because that's what I put to my sinking fund. So every month I save $75 to my gift sinking fund. So anytime that I purchase gifts, or for the most part, I am pulling out of that sinking fund to replenish those purchases. So yeah, I would say that's just $900. Next would be my brokerage account, which I did not account for. I didn't budget anything here, but I did end up putting $1,075 to my Vanguard brokerage account. Car/car maintenance, I budgeted $1,200 because of my sinking fund. I was putting $100 per month to the sinking fund. That ended up being $1,300 because I put an extra $100 in December. I did get 2 oil changes in 2023, and then I had like some brake work done, brake fluid, that sort of thing, tire rotation. But between the two, that wasn't even like $800. And then, yeah, I just pull from that sinking fund. So I would say $1,300 because of what I put to my sinking fund. Next would be donate. So I budgeted $1,200. I ended up donating $1,435. So I'm glad to see that that was higher. That's an area I do like to put a little bit more to, and something I am hoping I can continue to increase as the years pass. Car insurance, I budgeted $1,600. That ended up costing me $1,908.70. Yeah, I don't know if this is 100% accurate, just because I had Geico at the start of the year, and then when I moved to this county, this city, that increased quite a bit. Like they were going to increase my premium as I was moving by like over $200. So then I switched to Progressive. Geico refunded me, and then I paid for Progressive. So that means I ended up paying a premium 3 times in 2023. And when I added everything up, this is the number I got, $1,908.70. But I feel like it might be a little bit less than that, because really I think it was like 600 something when I switched over to Progressive. But yeah, that's close enough. Next is travel. I thought that was going to be $1,500 for the year. That ended up being $2,913.37. And really this was much higher because my boyfriend and I ended up booking a trip in December, so at the end of the year, and we didn't expect to do that, but that trip isn't actually happening until later in 2024. But I'm happy to spend on travel. Plus, I redeemed quite a bit of travel credit card points, and that helped cover, like, I used cash back to cover our full Airbnb stay in Costa Rica. That was over like $1,100, so that's pretty cool. And I'm hoping to continue like travel credit card hacking. Next would be the dogs. I expected $3,000 here, ended up spending $3,385.62. So this is for just like general expenses with my sister and I's 2 dogs, but also in December spent a little bit more because we got a foster dog. Yeah, so this was close though, and just is what it is. Next up would be groceries. I expected to spend $5,000, ended up spending $4,880.88. So that's good. I was under budget there. And yeah, for the most part, I'm usually budgeting $5,000 for the year. There was some like trial and error this year because in the past, like when I lived at my apartment, I was strictly grocery shopping at a specific grocery store. Sprouts, my favorite grocery store, which is pretty pricey. But then when I moved here, I started, I tried out Publix, which was very expensive. So I stopped that, tried Kroger, tried Walmart, just still trying. I guess I figured it out at this point. So I feel like I spent more on groceries this year, but still was under budget, which is good. Next would be my emergency fund. I expected $6,000 here, and that is accurate just because I already had $6,000 in my emergency fund, and I knew I wanted to reach 12. But because of the interest that accrued, I only had to save $5,687 to reach that 12K goal. So yeah, basically the same thing. Next is health/beauty. I expected $6,000. I ended up spending $6,070.55. So just a little bit over budget, but that's still pretty good. This was so expensive because of my Mira-Dry treatments. This was to help with hyperhidrosis. I got 2 treatments, and together that costs like over $3,000, which is a lot of money, but worth it to me. I'm happy I got that procedure done. Yeah, and then just a number of other things included in there, supplements, massages, going to various doctor visits, but I don't think it'll be quite as high in 2024, so that's good. Next is household. This one was a little bit hard to get the number correct, so I can't say that it's 100% accurate. So I expected $600, right? That's just for general household, like toilet paper, cleaning supplies, that sort of thing. But then I started saving for furniture. So I created my furniture sinking fund and I saved up $6,000 there. But then I also spent some money on furniture and pulled from that sinking fund. So I don't have a perfect picture here, but altogether, I think that came to $7,113.79. So this does include some savings. This does include some spending. It's more savings than spending because I spent some in 2024 as well. But that should be about right. As far as like basic household expenses, I don't know. Like it's probably under 600, but I could be wrong there as well. Next is my Roth IRA. I expected $8,000. That was $8,000. The max for 2023 was $6,500. So I did max out 2023, but I didn't finish maxing out 2022 until January of 2023. So altogether for the year, I did add $8,000 to my Roth IRA. I did want to include my 401k as well. So this isn't something that I put into my annual budget before. I don't know why I didn't. But for the year, I ended up contributing $8,232.30. So that's pretty good. And then my company matches that, however much that ended up being, but I'm just going to count what I actually contributed. Next would be student loans, and this was specifically student loan debt savings because at the start of the year, the student loans were in forbearance and at 0% interest, so I was saving for them. I needed a total of $36,000 to completely pay off my debt, but coming into the year, I already had like $24,000 saved or so. So I knew that all I had to go was $10,599.06 to reach that 36K goal. And that is what I ended up saving. I think when I did my updated budget video, I had given that exact number because that's all I ended up saving in order to reach that 36K. And then by the time we had to start making payments, I completely paid off my student loans. So that took care of all of my debt, numbers that I will not have to worry about. I will never have student loan debt again. So that is exciting, and that it doesn't even feel like that happened in the last year. Like this time 1 year ago, I was still saving for my student loan debt, which it doesn't even feel like that, you know? It's crazy. Next would be business expenses / electronics, which all of my electronics I can really count as a business expense. Halfway through the year, I changed this. I increased what I expected to spend here to $8,000, but I ended up spending $14,945.26. That's a lot of money. I feel like that's not even enough. Like I feel like I actually spent more. That should be right though. Yeah, I feel like 2023 was a year of experimentation for me. Some things did not work out how I expected them to or how I wanted them to, but that's okay. Definitely something to learn from and take moving forward. Like I think everything is worth trying as long as it's within reason, you know? And yeah, no regrets there. So that's also good because that lowers my tax burden for 2023. And yeah, I made quite a bit for my business, so some of it was definitely worth it. Next would be rent and utilities. So for the year, I expected $14,447. And if you go back and watch my annual budget from the beginning and then also my updated annual budget, I had separated everything out. So like what I expected for rent and electricity and Wi-Fi and all of that stuff. But this time I combined everything. So rent plus all those utilities. And that's where the $14,447 comes from. I ended up actually spending $15,256.72. And this again includes all of that stuff, including Wi-Fi. And at this house, that also is gas. We have gas at this house and HOA. But if you don't know, for the first 5 months, I kind of already talked about this, but for the first 5 months of 2023, I was living on my own in an apartment that was much more expensive. So I was expecting, you know, like well over $19,000 or so going into the year. But then I knew that I would be moving, so I knew that would save me some. But yeah, there were some things that were more expensive here, specifically like electricity, and then of course having an HOA fee, but it's still, I am saving a lot by living here and splitting expenses with my boyfriend. And then the final number to share with y'all that I did not budget for, put into my spending plan, are taxes. These are like actual W-2 taxes and then money that I paid to the state and to the IRS from my business. That came to $20,738.44. So quite a bit of money on taxes. I don't know what things are I haven't filed taxes for the year yet, but maybe I'll get a refund. Maybe I'll have to owe. This year I tried to pay a little bit less to my taxes as far as my business goes so that I don't end up getting a refund, because from 2022 my money was tied up for a few months and I don't like that. Like, you know, the IRS, if you owe them money, they expect you to pay it fairly quickly, but if they have your money, they're in no rush to get it over to you, and it took them months and I don't like that, so I'd rather have to owe them a little bit, honestly, instead of them having my money. So altogether, I spent $118,586.50. This is not perfect by any means. There's probably a few things that I'm missing in here. I try not to, I actually don't. I don't ever do any sort of miscellaneous category, so everything should be accounted for, but I am human, so there may have been there could have been a grocery trip or some tiny small purchase that I did not log in my spending, but for the most part, this is accurate. And altogether, I think it's cool to see everything, especially when you order it from smallest to largest, and just kind of seeing how things have evolved throughout the last few years of me actually even doing this. So yeah, I did make an annual budget for 2024. I can link that video down below. And then probably in about 6 months or so, I'll do an updated annual budget. And then same thing in 2025, I'll do a video just like this to see how I actually spent my money. But that's it for this video. Let me know if y'all have any questions. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next one.